So for a little reading, short piece. And this is occurs in the Vinaya books, the Mahavagga, the Vinaya, and it's a very brief account of the arising of faith in the mind of Sariputta and Moggallana. And this occurs when the Venerable Assaji, who was a newly awakened arahant, one of the first of the six apparently. Buddhist chronology is pretty questionable, but that's the way we have it. So he was one of the first of these five disciples of the Buddha, and he became an arahant. And so he's just out wandering, and Sariputta, who isn't a monk then, is a seeker. And he sees this being, he says, "Oh, your faculties are serene, the colour of your skin is clear and bright. Under whom have you gone forth? Who is your teacher? Whose law do you confess?" And so the Assaji says, "I've gone forth under the Blessed One, who's my teacher, and I follow his teachings." So Sariputta asks him, "What is this teaching, the discipline?" And he says, "I can't tell you in detail, but I'll give you the basic gist of it." And Sariputta says, "Okay, just give me the basic thing." So Venerable Assaji told the wanderer Sariputta this sketch of the law, or the law of Dhamma. "The Perfect One has told the cause of causally arisen things, and what brings their cessation to, such is the doctrine preached by the great monk. The Perfect One has told the cause of causally arisen things, and what brings their cessation to, such is the doctrine preached by the great monk." When the wanderer Sariputta heard this statement of the law, the spotless, immaculate vision of the Dhamma arose in him. All that is subject to arising is subject to cessation. And he says, "This is the truth. Even if that were all, you have attained the state where there is no sorrow, that we, for many times, over 10,000 ages, have let pass by unseen." So then he goes and tells Moggallana, same thing. "You have attained the state where there is no sorrow, that we, for many times, 10,000 ages, have let pass by unseen." So this is considered a very cryptic but radical teaching. The teaching of causally, that the Tathagata teaches the cause of causally arisen phenomena and their ceasing. And it was considered so pithy and crucial that this particular stanza was often inscribed on stupas and slabs and all over Asia, or Southeast Asia. And when they took the Dhamma, they took this and they engraved it. This is the Buddha's, this is it. And people would recite it. It felt almost to contain all the power of the Dhamma kind of captured in this particular piece, which we might think, well... So the causally arisen things are called Dhammas, Hetupabha Dhamma. Dhammas, the phenomena that arise from a cause with a root. They come into arising, into bhava, into being through a root condition. They form. The nature of that root condition is seen, understood, and also released, relaxed, quietened, ceased, however you want to put it. Maybe this gets more interesting. How do you see that? Why do you see it? What is a causally arisen thing? And from the Buddhist perspective, you would say everything. So how do you see everything ceasing? And what's the value of that? Well, look at it the other way. If it doesn't, you're getting into a very congested, conflicting universe where phenomena are seen as ultimate, true, valid, but of course they don't actually last, and they contend. So right now, as I'm sure you're aware, huge amount of suffering, destruction, death, deprivation occurring over which piece of earth is Ukraine and which piece is not. Something is held as finally this, should be other than that. And what is that? Earth? No. What's the cause? Is it the earth? No. Is it people? Not really. Power. It's power, isn't it? Search for power and control. That's the cause. And so that designation of territory and the intensity of the feeling around that is really based upon the root condition, cause, power, control. When we actually examine that, what power do we have anyway over existence? Phenomena arise, people are born, die at a certain time, we can't control that, we can moderate it. Pain and sorrow, joy and happiness come and go. We can moderate it, we can't actually change it. Being liked and disliked, you can moderate it a bit, but you can't actually change the basic pattern. Who controls anything? Who owns anything? Who can definitely say a thing is this or that? Is a banana delicious or is it boring? Something determines something and makes it a definite thing. And therefore, greed, hatred, delusion arise. Over what the mind projects these corrupting influences onto what? Sense bases, or even just ideas, just notions, designations. I think be extremely powerful. I was at some reason or other this thought arose. I was at a seminar many years ago on racism in America, and they gave this example of a woman. She was born somewhere in the South, and she looked like an average, American person, And she noticed on one of her identification cards, she had a letter C written in the corner of it. What does that mean? It means you're coloured. But what colour? The skin is kind of light pink. And they figured that she had 1/32nd part of her blood was Negroid or African or something or the other. They couldn't detect it in the appearance, but she had 1/32 seconds of something. took the blood out. There's no colour. The blood is red like everybody else's blood. It's the same stuff. You can't say it's Jewish blood, Italian blood. It's just blood, human blood. So where is this stuff? Not in the skin. It's not. Where is this colour? And she said if she crossed to another state, she became white because they didn't have the same designation. But if she was in this particular state, this would mean she would get, couldn't get on buses, couldn't go into certain restaurants, certain, restrictions were placed upon her because of this one letter written in the corner of a identification document. Yeah. Hitler thought this was pretty cool because he could only manage quarter with Jews. I think if you're less than quarter Jewish, you'd got away with it. But he thought, wow, they really upped it. He thought it was pretty impressive, and still maintaining moral superiority while doing so. Designations. What's it about? Why call anybody anything? What does it? Control, fear, aggression, power. Yeah. These are the causal conditions. And of course, the opposite. Non-greed. Loving kindness. And we noticed in this current crisis, where there were these strict borders, this is Ukraine, this is Poland, suddenly, poof, borders open, you're welcome, you're a suffering person, come in. Drop the designations. Which do you want to do? Which seems more wholesome Dhamma? Yeah. And so we really, this is the kind of Buddhist perspective, and I'm not claiming it to be Buddhist either, like nobody else has got it, but this is the spiritual, if you like to call it that, or intelligent, or most healing, healthy perspective. Look into the deep root causes of phenomena that we take as being objectively true and real. And the understanding that's so often proclaimed in Buddhist circles particularly, there's no such thing as objective reality. There's no such thing. There's quasi-realities that we handle for the sake of orientation and purpose and clarity and so forth. And we can use those. But always keeping that sense of, penetrative, the root causes, and how those causes can be discerned, examined, and released. Recognizing eventually we are recipients, vehicles for those causes and conditions that will lead to our suffering and the suffering of others, or not. And it's constantly occurring. It's a constant welling up of wave after ripple, after tsunami, of that flow that we call mind. Although, that's just a designation too. You call it heart, imagination, awareness, intuition, psyche, and so forth. But it's really, this is what Dhammas are. Dhammas are those meaningful meanings, you could say. They're not objective phenomena. They directly experience subjective meaning. That changes from person to person. You find this frightening, I find it interesting. Not saying what it is, eventually I have to turn it back to, is a heedlessness, carelessness, attention, goodwill or not? And this is what we keep returning to. And meditation experience is this. And I think as points Imagine Hingsago was making the other night, what do you call meditation? What do you designate it as? Be careful. You start to create some little box about what you're going to be and what you're going to have and what you're supposed to be as some final ultimate statement, you're in for a big heap of suffering. Sometimes I think it's just peaceful coexistence with the absurdity of what arises. And that means just having goodwill, I'll do that. Don't crystallize around these impressions. And then practice, this is practice. Directly experienced realities, directly experienced meanings, think qualities, dhammas, qualities that touch the heart. Yeah. And you see this word dhamma, you see it in English, you can write it with a capital D, meaning teaching, and you can write it with a lowercase d, meaning phenomena. Actually, in the old script, there was no lowercase and uppercase. That only arose in about the 8th century in Europe. There were no cases, so it's all just dhammas, meaning directly experienced realities, getting that which is the core of experience. And we look in the Satipatthana suttas, then you have this various, it kind of takes you down. These 4 establishments of sati. You can see them sequentially, but I see them more like Russian dolls. You could say one sits inside another. As you drill down, you come in, you've got a body. How do you know you've got a body? Directly. You can't see it. Right now it's neither male nor female, old nor young, big nor small. It's just this. What is it? It's a felt, directly felt experience of fluidities, abrasion, painfulness, pleasantness, mobilities. And it's waving, constantly flux, isn't it? When you get really close to it, with awareness, you can't really say how big it is. And things that other people would see as significant, the shape, the colour, the gender you can't even note, you can't even see them, you can't experience them. There's no shape. There's no gender to it, there's no age to it. These things have become so fundamental and conventional realities don't even occur. That's what you call ceasing. The wave doesn't even rise up. So making an issue about the colour of your hair or the colour of your skin is like, what's that? Or somebody else's, what's that? And you go down in the feeling sense, the felt sense of it, and it just as it explains, there till one arrives at just the stripping away of these obtrusive designations. So it just says, there is just awareness to the degree to which one knows there is body. It's neither big nor small. It's just this phenomenal experience. And then you come down, then you get feeling. And feeling takes you into what is it that feels, citta. And we begin to recognize that really, these feeling that we call based upon immaterial feeling is really just how the citta shivers. If it shivers one way, call it pleasure. Shivers another way, call it pain. Doesn't shiver, we don't notice it. Feeling disappears. And that feeling of it disappearing, citta feels good. Relief from that pushing and pulling. Relief from that surging and waving. Nirodha. Yeah. As Ajahn was saying the other night, Nirodha, ceasing. What does this mean? Does it mean doesn't exist? Not really. Does it mean it kind of virtually exists if you focus on it with a certain attitude. If you want to make something of it, it will rise up. If you don't make anything of it, it dissolves. Yeah. Just like the colour of the walls here, you probably don't even notice it. You could make a thing out of whether it's biscuit colour, or it could be cream, or is it off-white, or is it ivory, or is it sand, or you could just say, I don't know, never really bothered. Do you mean there's no wall? No, I wouldn't say that. There's no colour? No, I wouldn't say that. There is a colour? Well, I wouldn't say that either. It does not arise here. And so we can practice this, because often one of the big developments, in my opinion, is to notice not what you find is important, urgent, necessary, crucial, vital, but just what isn't here. Oh, they're open. Because the mind, its root condition, interest. It gets interested in something that strikes it as painful, pleasant, exciting, whatever, that moves it. And then where does that take you? It takes you to more movement or fixation. What about if you give attention to what isn't here? What's that? Well, particularly in Vedic understanding, they made a big thing out of this. They called it zero. That's where the zero came from. You can actually focus on or relax back to zero, which means just open awareness, you could say. Nature of mind, you could say. The nature of the container, you could say that. That which knows. Is it here? Well, not exactly. Is it not here? Wouldn't say that. What is it? You can't form an object out of it. And yet, from that place, you can witness and not make an issue and not stir up phenomena. And this is what I'm offering right now as one way of interpreting what Asaji was saying, and Venerable Sariputta was picking up. There can be that mode of mind that does not project fascination, fixation, aversion, struggle, designations. Doesn't do it. And there's no sorrow, no suffering, no struggle, no good, no bad, no attainment, no decline, no coming, no going. Well, how do you do that? Well, you keep going down to the sutta, you come to the fourth establishment of Sati, establishment on these potent meanings. Ill will, negativity, greed, sense desire, sloth, indolence, apathy, can't be bothered, sluggishness, restless agitation, worry and flurry, planning and figuring, proliferating and speculating, havering and wavering, unable to make a commitment to anything, because it's always maybe this, maybe that. How are these? How does that feel? Suffering, stress. Okay, let's just start clearing those. You can't say any of this is good. But if you don't focus on it, we project it out. projects out. Very normal. Everybody does it, I'm sure. And project it onto other people. Number one object. We project it onto our so-called self. Number two object. We project it into the future and we project it into the past. In the past I was, this happened to me, therefore I have ill will. In the future they will do this, do that and the other, therefore I have ill will. I have a feeling of aggression, the inferred hostility that will happen to me in the future. I'm feeling nervous and frightened by the inferred hostility that I imagine people are projecting towards me. Nobody really likes me here. They're just too polite to say it. I know they don't. What's that? That's called ill will. We think it's come from somewhere else. It takes many forms. I remember I was on retreat one time, and I think I was on this retreat, and then generally there's like this morning puja, and 5 o'clock maybe, which is just, what's 5 o'clock mean? A little number on a clock. What's that mean? So, I get up and I freshen up. Okay, well, I've got nothing else to do. I go and sit. Go to the hall and sit, and it's maybe, 4:40 or something on the clock. I'm sitting there. And then maybe somebody got there 5 minutes before me. So I'm looking and thinking, who does he think he is? Getting here early, trying to prove how good he is. So then 5 o'clock comes round, bell rings, a load of people come in. Who do they think they are? Just blind parrots, Pavlovian, obeying bells like Pavlovian dogs. Then somebody comes in at 5:10. Who does she think she is coming in late? So I think I could find fault with all three forms. Something wrong here. Something wrong here. Do you need to do that? Do you need to create time? Do you need to create people? Can you just find you've got nothing to do, so you go sit down quietly and sound arises, forms arise. So, what else is going to happen? I start designating. I didn't realise how much ill will I had till I became a monk. I mean, I don't think people would call me a particularly aversive person. It didn't manifest. But somewhere in the root of it all of us, who may have lived quite reasonable lives, because generally we move things around so we wouldn't get to deal with things we didn't want, didn't like. Once you're kind of open to this situation, then you don't have control. And then one of the things that comes up is mapping out your territory of who I am, what I want, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, who she is and who they are, judgments and opinions. And once ill will comes up. As at Amaravati, and particularly in the early days, it was fairly chaotic, because we didn't really have a form to deal with the kind of situation that Lhasa Sumedho was trying to realise. It's kind of open centre for people. Doors of deathless are open. That was the phrase. And so, open door policy. But this meant all kinds of chaos had come in through those open doors. And people just drift in. Good people, strange people, confused people, all kinds of. And generally, what goes on? What's happening? What am I supposed to do? And so, I'd be doing walking meditation at some corner, and somebody comes, "Excuse me, do you know where the?" And I go, "Oh, it's over there, I think." Oh, okay, get back to my walking meditation. And walking up and down, being mindful, walking up and down, and suddenly a door would bang, somebody else would, hey, have you seen so-and-so? I haven't seen him today. I'm walking up and down. Excuse me, do you know where the toilets are? Just over there. Look, there's a sign there. If you look, there's a sign there. I get so angry and upset. Wait a minute, this has got to stop. So I thought, okay, I'll get right out in the middle of the courtyard where everybody can see me, and I'll just practice welcoming whatever arises. So I take this 20 paces right in the middle of the courtyard, and I get halfway down and somebody come along and ask me a question, I just welcome it. I get to the end of it and somebody else come along. There's a sign telling me exactly what to do, and they ask me. And I say, okay, oh look, like it says on the sign, you can go to the office and it's right over there. Thank you for your inquiry. Just welcome, welcome, welcome. Just because I don't want the ill will. I don't care whether I have samadhi. I don't care if it's right and proper and a forest monk should be doing this and it should be more skillful. I don't care. I just don't want any more of this ill will. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I just did that. And so then, you're really looking directly into what phenomena are meaningful. What is the causal condition? And what do you need to do to bring that to cessation? So you see, are people irritating, or are they people who need some help? Are they, seekers after truth, or are they just some delinquent vagabond? Well, what does you good? You don't need to know. What does you good? You start out with an open. Welcome, clarity, stability. Oh, okay. Take it from there. So you're really looking into the causes of arisen phenomena. And so what gives rise to ill will? Me and mine. What gives rise to greed? Me and mine. What gives rise to lethargy and dullness? Oh, I can't be bothered. Why should I have to do this anyway at this time? Me and mine. What gives rise to restlessness? Maybe I go forward and that. Me and mine. What gives rise to doubt? Well, maybe this, but now I could do that, but I don't really feel like this. And should it be like that? And, me and mine. How much? And is that true? Is that real? Is there such a thing? That lasts, is standing, is substantial, is valid? No. The root cause, ignorance. Ignorance, craving. So this is called insight. You're looking into causes and conditions. And though we all have our meditation forms, useful templates, this is body. Don't make a thing out of it. Don't try to realize something you can't feel. Just feel what it is directly. All this. Body. Sensations, energies, feelings, warmth, pressure, spaciousness, all this is that. Okay? And what kind of relationship to that gives rise to ease? Not pushing, not trying to make something happen, not trying to get concentrated, not wanting to realize something, just open, steadying, not distracting, stay with it, mindfulness. And so then we begin to sense, this is causing, certain phenomena to cease, that are distracting, obstructive, ignoble, degrading, worthless. And it gives rise to openness, brightness, clarity, composure. Well, just do this then. see where it goes. Dhammas lead on by themselves. They lead on. As you stay in touch with them, they lead on. They lead on to further clearance of stress, suffering. So even the idea that I'm walking at a certain point becomes stressful because it implies time, going somewhere, not going anywhere. There's just movement. Implies an owner of it who's doing it right or wrong and will arrive somewhere. That's problematic. So we're just in that sense of moving and the arising or non-arising of hindrances. And you can cultivate like that. That's getting to the point. You see, and I mean, sometimes we get it, seems to me, my view, we can get it wrong if we think that our precision has to be on the nature of a sensation. Getting right to that point where a sensation arises. Then you get this kind of, I don't see that as being that useful. To me, what often, when you look at it, strikes you in the face is, I'm getting intense. My mind is intense. This is not comfortable. My mind is trying to make something happen. This is not comfortable. We look into the root causes of rather than objective, what's called objective reality of physical things and sensations. We look into Dhamma reality, just how these qualities are being experienced and handled in terms of hindrances or non-hindrances. You don't have to fret then, should your meditation path be 20 paces, 25 paces, 30 paces, 29, 28 for each of the Buddhas. Should you do it slowly, fast, short steps, long steps? Just my mind is getting intense, I don't need this. Just a reasonable amount that fits and a reasonable pace that fits for what I need to dispel now. And trust when the dispelling of unwholesome qualities arises, there's either open clarity, space, or the arising of skillful factors. And this gives us a way in. But as Sariputta said, this is a kind of thing that we often miss. That's a pertinent statement. It's so easy to miss the wood for the trees. Get caught up in details, obsessive, feeling quite concentrated on that. But there are such things as wrong mindfulness and wrong concentration. And I feel that this is important for us to all personally understand and get a handle on, so we can really follow what's true, unwritten, yet valid for our welfare and clarity. So let's practice, or if you want to call it practice, just keep being here in a suitable way.